Okay, nuts. It is vintage challenge time. 23rd of September vintage challenge. And we're going to play some Squee. Thought we'd mix it up, play something different. And by that I mean I've put the Furies in the sideboards and main decked a snapback over here. We're back up to 4 Vigors. We're up to 4 Mindbreak traps. And we've trimmed a Surgical Extraction in favour of a second Ghost Quarter. The reason for this is the card Bazaar of Baghdad is not particularly good at the moment, in my opinion. I mean, that won't stop me, but I feel like we should see less Bazaars. So I'm hedging away from that a little bit, just, the 6 plus all the wastelands, But this just means we've got a bit more Saga protection. We can play 2 of the lands that I think are good at the moment. And we're running into a meta game where, in my opinion, the best decks are blue-black Mogged, that Luris Bowmaster deck where they're playing the 9 colourless lands, and yeah, all of their creatures kill us dead, all of their lands kill us dead, and on top of that they have some permission. So yeah, a few extra mana producing lands is always nice for that sort of thing. I think the big thing that we need to work out is a good playable game plan against Orcish Bowmasters. I'm not sure what that is, but I think we need something outside of the current card pool. I'm currently thinking I want to try some gut shots at some point after a little chat with Sullivan Brophy, or a suggestion from him, and then yeah, see how that works out. So that's probably going to be my next video, but for now we've got some vintage challenge, so please let me know all the times I punt, and yeah, like the video and subscribe to the channel, I guess. Yeah, enjoy the video, enjoy the challenge, and let me know if there's anything I do that's heinous. Peace out. Okie dokie nerds. Round 1 vintage challenge. We're playing Squee. We've won a die roll. 2 Bazaars. Turn 1 we've got 9 power. Seems like a great place to be. So yeah, we'll keep this, I reckon. That's okay. I don't know what lore he plays. I feel like I know the name, but I do not know. I cannot remember. So yeah, this is, easy mode Squee. In this spot you attack first, just in case they fancy vigoring you. And then we question whether we play the hollow one. I guess we do, just because it presents something approaching lethal, doesn't it? So that was easy. Obviously they can still win, they can still come with something like, Workshop, Mana Vault, Golos tab, and we lose. But, well, there's the Workshop. And a Patchwork Automaton. Okay, I feel fine about that. How many Moxen do they have? There's a Soul Ring. So now our trap is going to be online if they've got anything to do with their Soul Ring. My stack's in a weird place and it's incredibly big. Okay, you've got that one. Let's see if they've got a follow-up. They do. So Phyrexian Revoker, which I don't think I care about. But then, yeah, no, I don't care about the Revoker. Not at all. I could trap it, but I think I'd rather draw into blue cards to prevent future spheres, or just attack through the Revoker. So, Basking Root Waller, that's fine. So they've got a 3/3 and a 2/1. We've got a bunch of 4 power dudes. Squee's going to come back in our turn. Force of Wills and Wastelands are what we're looking to draw here. It's another hollow one. So, how do we want to play this? I guess we activate pre-combat in case we hit more Vengevines and Lizards. We did not. But let's discard Squee Bizarre maybe? Or SqueeVine Trap. They've already pumped a bunch of shit into play. Or I could just discard the Lizard, and then if they trade with the Vengevine, then I just get the Vengevine back immediately. Actually, I like that more. So I'm going to discard Lizard. Bizarre. This is close. I don't know if the aggro versions play main deck Tabernacle. Because the Root Wall is my green card as well. I think I'm just going to keep the Root Waller and discard a Bizarre and a Trap. And then I'm just going to slay with all of them, I guess. Because I'm pretty interested in damage. So, does the Basking Root Waller do anything? I don't think so. I think the Basking Root Waller can die. I think it's hard for them to deal 20 next turn through a Vigor. Yeah, so they're going to eat that and take the 12. So go to 4. Now we'll cast our Hollow one, and then upkeep we'll just kill the Soul Ring and the Revoker. See if that does anything. So obviously Golos into Tabernacle is a real ball ache for us. Foundry Inspector doesn't make a Golos. So you need creature here to get anywhere. And they do not get anywhere. So they've conceded. We are victorious. We'll bring in the Furies, and then we bring in all the mana producing lands, so that we can play through a Sphere. And this is the bit that's difficult. Mental Misstep's good against Needle. We need 8 cuts, which looks rough. So Snapback, negations are weak, traps aren't ideal, Chalice of the Void on the draw, Misstep can go. Do I need this many Furies? Probably not, just because the patchwork's difficult to run through. And then we need to trim one more thing. I think I'll make that a blue Squee. So trimming around. On the draw it might be awful cutting these blue cards actually. But another double Bizarre hand, bunch of mana producing lands, Noxious Revival. So we'll keep it, we'll hope that whatever they do on turn 1 isn't particularly powerful. And then we'll see how we do. So the mana producing lands are really good in this matchup because of the spheres. Trinosphere is the biggest ball ache out of all of them though, if they've got one of those. So Mox Pearl, Soul Ring, Sphere of Resistance, okay. Is that it? That's cool. So now we can go and try and find a Vigor somehow. We'll play our Bizarre. We'll activate the Bizarre because Hollow one's alive. And we'll discard Master of Death, we'll discard Vengevine, and we'll discard one other card. It will be one of these lands. It won't be the Bazaar of Baghdad. I guess the Ghost Quarter is the worst one. Is Ghost Quarter worse than Caracas? I'm going to discard Caracas. Just because I can, like, they appear to not have a hand, right? Or a land. So whenever they do find one, we'll feel great and clever. So Patchwork's fine. In our Needle, I guess. No plays, alright. So we get our Force of Will online now, and we get that online through the Sphere. So we can play Wasteland and just attack for 4. Now, do we want to activate to go and find a Vigor? I don't think I want to activate. I think I'm happier with Force of Will open, and then we can activate end step. If we need to. And if we don't need to, then we've got one easy discard, right? Because the 2 revivals are good as green cards. So Wasteland's annoying, but it's not the end of the world. We've got another Bazaar here, we've got 2 revivals. We can pay through a Sphere for a while. It's just if we want to activate here or not. I don't think so, I think we can just let the Bazaar go for now. Yeah, I'm going to let the Bazaar go. I've got another one. I like my hand. They've only got 2 cards left in hand, so we can Force of Will their next play, such as this Thorn of Amethyst. And now, we don't have a Squee going, but we do have a hollow one. We've got them under a Sphere quite nicely. Vigor's our best draw in our deck. But we'll play a Bazaar. We'll activate the Bazaar. So, Powder. Fuck, this is hard. Powder, Ghost Quarter, Revival, and then we can hold a Revival, Vigor 2 of their mana. Do I Vigor the Sphere in this spot? I don't know. So I'm putting them down to 2 mana. And my dude's bigger. No, I think I've got to Vigor Sphere and Soul Ring. And that way I can cast my Revival. I can get back my Bazaar. And next turn we'll have a bunch of activations to just spin as far as we can. Tabernacle at Pendlevale. Okay. So then do we want to... How do we want to do this? Do we want to pay for the hollow one? Or just Wasteland the Ancient Tomb? I think we want to pay for the hollow one. We'll get back a Bazaar of Baghdad. Pick this up. Pay for the hollow one. They've got 1 card in hand. We're winning the race and they've got an Ancient Tomb, so their mana's like tricky. And we can just spin a bunch of times here. It doesn't matter too much if we hit a bunch of lizards and they die. What's cool about this is if we hit some Squeeze or if we do reanimate a Vengevine, it's just a whole bunch of damage. They've got to pay, so they use the Pearl. They've only got 2/2. They're up to 2 cards. Ancient Tomb's a real issue for them in this spot. Like, they need their 2 cards really to be Mox, right? So I just milled a Squeeze, so I'm just going to run away with it. And that discard when we drew the 2 Vigors is kind of difficult to work out if it's good or not. Okay, Graphic Digger's Cage is not an issue. Once again we'll pay for the hollow one. Because they're going to be chump blocking soon. I guess you can take it this turn, right? Oh, I should have, that was really bad. I should have milled with a Bazaar. But I was talking over myself. I guess you can take this, but it kills your Ancient Tomb, so you kind of got to block. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we'll activate one now, just see what we hit. Just a lizard. Another Squee though, so that'd be nice, because that's going to go find us a Wasteland at some point. Or just a mana producing land is all we need at the moment to be able to commit this extra hollow one. If they tap their Ancient Tomb, they die. Stonecoil Serpent is merely a chump blocker for a turn. So I get back 2 squeeze. My lizard dies. And then, yeah, we dig and do some killing. So, really nice to get through the workshop matchup. Obviously we're not through yet, but they've got their best card in play. It's just the needle that hurts us at this point. I would activate because I want to find something good. Do I need this hollow one in my hand? I guess so. I guess we can just ditch the trap. I'm getting for 4. We've got all their plays covered now. But yeah, now I feel pretty confident that we are going to convert this. And we are kind of fortunate to get through the workshop matchup, especially with that second game on the draw. Game 1 was just an absolute write-off. We're beating most of the decks in the format in that spot. So yeah, good round 1. Workshops is never easy just because of the presence of infinite wastelands, and speaking of which, I need a vigor at this point. I can play a wasteland. I can slay for 4. They've got no mana. We'll play another hollow one. I probably just leave it there. They are fantastically dead. We can even let them resolve a sphere here, right, and then pay through that if they've got like a genius follow-up afterwards, but the Ancient Tomb is so bad for them. I need to work out how to talk about Magic. I feel like I've said nothing relevant. I've just clicked buttons. But no, a nice one for us. Cards popped up at the right time. The opener of game 2, this mana-heavy hand, was pretty good for us, just because it meant that when they played their spheres, it didn't really matter. We were able to play through them. And that's one of the really difficult things with shops, is when you've got a hand that can't play through a sphere, which is the vast majority of them. But yeah, opponent now in their upkeep, doing some thinking, doing some sitting and waiting and watching. I don't know what draws they can have in this spot, to be honest with you. Especially with the Force. And they've conceded. So that's a nice, quick and simple round 1 for us. Just being bigger than the Workshops deck, and them not having many wastelands. Grafdigger's Cage, a card that I don't rate against us. It doesn't really do much. It's beating up on exactly Vengevine, so they're bringing in and wasting slots to beat one of our cards. And I think if this is anything else, Tormod's Crypt, for example, it can be a much higher impact card. But hey ho, they've got to have something against Oath, right? Because they're a Workshops deck and they do die to it. So I can see why, but I don't think it's great. Anyway, good round 1. See you for round 2. Okay, round 2. We're up against the deck 84. We'll be powdering this stuff away. I'm just looking up the opponent quickly to see what they've been on recently, because they're one of the regs that I recognise the name of, and they have quite a bit of range, I think. So no results, that can't be true. Breach, tinker, tinker. Okay, cool. So they don't have range. They are just like me, but just a Grixis blue tinker deck is what we expect to be up against. Here we've got blue card Force and Trap, so that's good. We'll keep this 7 card hand. What do we get rid of? Yeah, no, nothing too worrying. So they probe us, so that's good. Now they know what's going on, which is nice for them. Puts us a little bit of a disadvantage in that they can now try and play around all of our stuff. They know to play around the trap, so we probably put that onto Force of Will Duty. As a Saga, means that I'm incentivized heavily to just Wasteland on one. Let's see what we draw first. And then go from there. But I imagine I'm just Wastelanding them. Like, Saga's such a big problem for us that if there's not a green card here, then yeah, then we want to get that Saga out of here. So it's just another Bazaar, so I am going to Wasteland. They still know our hand. We've traded a draw step each, and I need to win the battle over the needle if they've already got it organically. No Lorien revealed in response to that Saga's quite nice. That's a volcanic island and a passing of the turn. So bit of a slow one from the opponent actually. Especially when they know we're holding trap. So I guess we can sorcery speed the Bazaar here. Let's look up their most recent deck. Narset, no creatures last time out. So they're just on Sagas, Breach, and Vault Keys, I guess. Yeah. So no Hull Breachers, no Bowmasters in the 75. No main deck Pithing Needles. One Gifts on Given. Okay, that's really interesting actually. Do we want to activate this Bazaar of Baghdad? I think we can wait. I think we can wait and do it later. Because if they try and do some breachy stuff, then holding the green card is good, holding the blue card is good, and when we look at it like that, then the red lizard is actually our only discard. So we can end step it, discard the red lizard and the blue card, and then we get the blue card back immediately. So Preordain, welcome to the party. That's a Volk from then. Yeah, they just play the one Underground Sea, so they need to be careful when they go and get that. And yeah, they could be lining up a Tinker here. They could be lining up, yeah, Mystical for Tinker is something that can be an option. We're going to discard Lizard, Master of Death Lizard, keeping the green one to maintain access to the Vigor. And sometimes in these like Tinker blue matchups, this sort of clock is all that you really need. Yep, we'll bring back the Squee. That's a Noxious Revival. So now our green lizard is a bit better for discarding, which is nice because we'll have another activation on our opponent's end step, or in response to like a Narset. So we get in for 2, we play a Bazaar, and we pass the turn. We could consider picking up this Wasteland, but I don't think that's very good. So triple Volcanic. And then this is when we find out that they've changed the deck around a bit and they are running the Hull Breacher this week. So let's activate a Bazaar and see what happens. No Hull Breacher, so Lizard, Lizard, Squee, and our hand just keeps getting better and better. And we won't activate this other Bazaar of Baghdad. If we hadn't have played it last turn, then we would have had to discard to hand size. That's why we ran it out. Otherwise, I typically try to hold the Bazaars for as long as possible, because if they're not under threat, like in this sort of matchup, they're not wasting our Bazaars, right? Then we start to do... We get more discard equity out of them, basically. So we'll get in for 4. And do we want to put a Wasteland on top of our deck? Because if not, we're just discarding a Revival to hand size, right? So I guess we can put one on top, and then if we don't like it later, we can discard it. And if they have some sort of response here, I couldn't actually care less. Brainstorm's fine. So yeah, we've got force blue card, trap behind, vigor for a breach, vigor for a saga, vigor for a vault key, all this stuff. The big threat is if they've put Sphinx in the main board this week, but they've not been running Sphinx recently. So Ancestral Recall. That's interesting. I don't like Ancestral Recall. But do I care? Like, my hand's so good in blue. Do I really want to be going down on cards? They haven't had a fetch, so 2 of their cards are bad. Or they already know about 2 of their cards. So yeah, no, I guess they can have it, because it's only really a draw 1, right? So we'll let that go, and we'll hold up our triple interaction, quadruple interaction. We can maybe draw into more, but this Wasteland is... If they fight the Wasteland, that's really interesting for us, but I still don't think we get in a fight this turn. Because they can only kill us at sorcery speed, and our hand's just about as good as it gets in this sort of spot. And our trap's alive as well. But I'm not activating. I'm not going to get the Wasteland this turn. I did it so that we didn't have to discard. I didn't realise it was going to elicit such a response of Brainstorm Ancestral. But so they cast a Mox Ruby and an Underground Sea. And here's the Narset Parter of Veils. So they've already cast 1 spell, so anything after this can be trapped. So they Pyroblast me. I will trap their Narset and their Pyroblast. They know about the trap, right? So they've got to have another response. Okay, Flusterstorm's fine. And now we trap it all again. So this one, 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 this one. And say done, and pray that we hit everything. We did. And if they've got another response, then we can revival one of the traps. Force of Will, targeting the Mind Break trap. So that resolves. And then here's the big old question. Do we want to revival the trap, activate the Bazaar, draw up to 4 down to 1, trap them, and then get a free Bazaar activation? I think so. I think that seems good. So we'll revival a Mind Break trap. We'll draw into it, and then we'll trap the Narset. And I hope they've not got too much going on after that all happens. So Narset, Pyroblast, all the Flusterstorms that you ever did see. So that all gets through. Our stuff goes to the graveyard. We move to end step and we discard a couple of cards. Mill ourselves, hope for a squee. We hit 1, so upkeep we'll mill again with the squee trigger on the stack. Another squee. Okay. And then what? So I'll probably just activate here and then hold a misstep in hand. Attack for 4. This will cover an upkeep vamp. It will counter a key. No such luck. Black Lotus. Do they have an Underworld Breach as well? Time Walk. Okay. And what's the final card? Brain Freeze. Target yourself 3 times. So we're dead to an Underworld Breach at this point. But they've not got any fixing. This is everything they've got, right? So they're Hellbent, Tinker's gone. So it's just fade a draw step or 2. And the game is ours. Hopefully this is like a Preordain or a Ponder. Something that can get misstepped. No plays, so that's great news. And here we get back to squeeze. 3 squeeze, my god, what a delight. So we'll pick those up. I'm holding the blue card here, so I'm not activating the Bazaar. Draw step is a Noxious Revival. So I can just put a Force of Will on top of my deck. And if I draw another blue card, it's insane. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to put Force of Will on top. If they've got a Pyroblast, then it will go through. That's fine. Not a Pyroblast, but you know, a misstep of their own. So we'll draw some cards. We'll just discard the squeeze. So now they've got to come up with a plan through face-up permission. And it's got to do it exactly this turn. So, draw step. Oh, don't be a dress down. I think dress down's fine, isn't it? And then they concede. So we win that one. Pretty nice game. Faded the breach on those 2 draw steps when we were sort of cold to it. Well, the second one we weren't cold to it, but we were cold if they top decked a Pyroblast or something. So our opponents never had, or not had, a Sphinx of the Steel Wind recently, which is an interesting take. They usually are on 1 Tabernacle, 2 Pithing Needles, and 4 Leyline of the Void. So we definitely want to be max vigors. Just wondering if we want like a Leyline or a Surgical of our own. I think Surgical is interesting, especially over the revivals, and I like the snapback. I'm going to bring that in over a Squee. Do I want a Squee or a Lizard? I guess a Squee if we know we're getting binked on by Leylines. But just because they haven't had it in the past doesn't mean they don't have it this week, sort of thing. So we're going to keep the snapbacks available. We keep Bazaars on 7, especially when they've got turn 1 Vengevines, but they've got double Leyline. Okay, do we want to fight now or do we want to fight later? Let's see if they've got Force of Will to go with it. And we do this now so that we don't give them access to the Flusterstorm. Now they have to pitch a blue card. And if they've got it, they've got it. And the Leylines go to the graveyard, so they're now just on we're both on 5. Obviously I perform better on 5, provided that there's no needle here. Needle, fantastic news. So, yeah. We now need to draw more vigors, but they are only on 3 cards. No lands. That's a vigor, so that's pretty good news. And then we hold our Bazaars because in case we need to start discarding lizards to win games. No plays there. And this is where it becomes a bit sweaty as to when we go for this and if we're just punting straight into it with no Force of Will protection. We can't do anything, it's fine. So it continues to be no plays, which continues to be bad news for us in resolving this Vigor. But I'd like a Force of Will as a Squee. So we'll discard the Squee this turn, I think. Or do I just want to put some lizards into play? No, I'll discard a Squee first time round. Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be hard for us to get this Vigor through on just traps. I feel like we need to get them to do more before we put this Vigor on the stack. Obviously, I don't have anything. Okay, this turn I'm just going to put the 2 lizards into play, because if the game's going nowhere, then I may as well lizard, and that might draw a Tabernacle out of them early. And then we'll be able to plot around it. But at the moment, the main plan is to Vigor this Needle. There's a Saga, so we need the green card right now. Manifold Key is fine. Okay. So green card, please. Force of Will. Okay, so we'll get him for 2. And then we'll just discard Squee, I think. And this is one of those spots where you just know, deep down inside that you're drawing Surgical Extraction and not Noxious Revival, you know. So no plays again. So that's cool. We get a Squee back, which doesn't really do anything. And there's a green card. So we'll play our Bazaar of Baghdad. We'll move to end step. Oh no, we won't. We'll attack for 2. Why not? End step, we discard Squee. Upkeep, we fight the Saga and the Needle. And we've got to hit the Saga here so they can't get a second Needle. We expect resistance because they've taken no game actions. So they do have a Force of Will. Force of Will pitches Dak Faden. We force back on their Force of Will and cross our fingers that it gets through. The Force of Will did. The Vigor did. We've now got a Bazaar of Baghdad up and going. No plays. I will spin end step just to try and get access to another Squee. I do that indeed. And now we need a Wasteland so that we can beat a Saga and a Tabernacle. Chalice of the Void is a banger as well. So we'll discard Squee. Squee Hollow 1. We'll cast a Hollow 1. That means no resistance. They may have a Tabernacle, but that's fine. We've got 2 Squees going. We've got a Force of Will and the Chalice of the Void here. So we'll put the Chalice into play. That makes it hard for them to combo kill us. And this, at the moment, is all coming up trumps for the home team here. We won the 2 crucial moments in the game where we got rid of the ley line. They had the good draw, or like a good-ish draw, right? Where it was like they've got both ley line, needle, ley line, which is pretty banging for them. Here we'll just attack for 6 and then end step activate, because then we hold up maximum interaction. Yeah. So yeah, they had the good draw, but then they've struggled to get lands. Urza Saga's fine because they're going to die before that pops off. And we're going to get an end step activation here. holding all the wastelands you ever did see. Okay, no, we just got lethal now. So we'll fight over this lizard, and they can't actually fight over this lizard, right? So that's all nice and tasty. We get back 2 squeeze just in case, and they can see the game. So 2-0. Pretty nice start to the old challenge here. Yeah, and that game 2 was just a, obviously a very fortunate series of draws off the top to win the fight over the needle. If we don't win the fight over the needle, we lose to the 2 sagas as they come in. But yeah, in this instance, we did win it, and I'll see you for round 3. Right, round 3, we've won a die roll. We're up against McWindsauce. I can't remember what they play, to be honest with you. They've not got any results on Modo at the moment. This hand's good, but it's a hand where we don't really want to be activating our Bazaar. So, unless they show us their own Bazaar. But yeah, we'll see what they're on and take it from there. Right, they started with 7 cards. We started with 7 cards. We lost 3 squeeze to the powder, which is a bit upsetting, but such is life. I'm not activating the Bazaar here because my hand's really good. And we can come up with a plan later. Wasteland, okay. I'm still not going to activate, I'm just going to Revival. Unless they show me like a workshop sort of draw, at which point I've got a second Bazaar anyway. So yeah, I imagine that's confusing to the opponent. Maybe I'm not even supposed to play Bazaar, maybe I'm supposed to just pass the turn. But I feel like playing the Bazaar is fine. Yeah, playing the Bazaar is definitely fine, because if we trade off everything right and they have a sick turn 1, then it's good for us. I don't think I'll Revival. I will play a Strip Mine out, because that might just get another Wasteland out of their hand. And like this Revival's like, another Bazaar of Baghdad, or it's our Force of Vigor pitch. That's why we're being kind of stingy on that at the moment. I've got Vigor. So do I want to let this Saga through? I think so. Because I can figure the Saga later, or and then fight their coloured mana on a future turn if they play out some Moxen. They aren't going to play out some Moxen, so we'll take our turn, we'll play our Bazaar, and then we'll Strip Mine. So that's nice, because that's actually some discard equity at long last. We'll Strip Mine them. They might cycle for Alluring Revealed, they don't. They've still got 8 cards in hand because nobody's done anything relevant. We've just traded some lands. Ancient Tomb. Okay, so it looks like workshops, which is a shame. I will force this pitching a misstep. And then we'll think about picking up the Strip Mine. Will we think about picking up the Strip Mine? I don't think so, actually. I think we'll just plop the Lizard into play. Okay. Oh, pop all 3 Lizards into play. That's very nice for us. So, cast. So these are the creatures that we need to go on and win the game with. Yeah, the issue we've had this game is we're not going to be very good at finding squeeze, because 3 of them got exiled earlier, and we're just popping off the wasteland there just to try and restrict them on mana. Makes them more likely to do a triple spell turn, and it prevents them just going Workshop Golos, which usually kills us. So this is a Urza Saga, which I think is fine. And then they've got a Stone Cold Serpent, which is also fine. And then we will, yeah, vigor them. And then do we want to spin? I don't think so, because we can draw up. So Force and Negations, that's a cracker as well. That might even fight a Mox next turn if we want it to. It's a bit worrying because they've got 5 cards in hand, right? So I know we've been through a lot of their cards, but oh no, they've got nothing. So do I want to spin here? I still don't want to, just because I can fight mana on future turns. In we get for another 3. You know, creature spells are annoying, but it's fine. And they're all out of mana now. They're all out of spells, and they've conceded. Nice. So that was a good one. A double Bazaar hand, where we played it kind of funny, and, you know, kind of coy, not activating the Bazaar, not even revivaling the Bazaar, just taking our time, because our hand was so good and so reactive. So, same as round 1 though, aggro shops. We bring in all the mana producing lands. I can't even remember what I did, but Furies can come in, Chalice can go, a Squee can go, a Squee can go, a Negation, Misstep, and a Snapback or a Trap. I guess a Trap, just because Snapback does deal with thick Nettle Cysts. So, yeah, that's going to be our sideboarding, and then we'll bring the Chalice back on the play. But yeah, mana producing lands, play around spheres. I'm still not convinced about this sideboarding plan. Going down to 6 squeeze is not what I call a good time. So maybe I had to snap back it out last time, but I think I want to be able to fight the Nettle Cysts. I rarely trim the creatures. I only trim the lizards against Oath the vast majority of the time. So, yeah. All good in the hood. Okay, so game 2 on the draw against McWinsource, and they are on like an aggro shops deck. This is a mulligan, there's no bazaars here. This is a powder, there's no bazaars here. I'm going to keep the vigor in my deck, I think. And then we go down to less, I don't know, I've already lost count. Powder this, keeping a Ghost Quarter and a hollow one. And still no bazaar, so we go to 4. But this is the time to do it right on the draw against the difficult matchup. So we keep this, put 3 cards back. So we'll put back Trap, Wasteland, Vigor or Bazaar. I guess Vigor. That's real bad. So we're on the draw. So like, Trap's really good, but we're going to get Wastelanded. So we need to keep the 2 bazaars, and we need to keep 2 of the others. So Trap's fine, but I think I think I'm just going to bottom these, cross our fingers and pray for no sphere. If there's no sphere, we get a good look for some Vengevines. And if there is a sphere, then we just activate for squeeze. We did cut squeeze, but we've exiled 0 squeeze. So both our Caracas have gone. Yeah, not sure. I feel like keeping the second bazaar is good, but I can see an argument that that should be at the bottom, and we should have a trap instead. So yeah, let's see what McWinsource comes with. But yeah, mulliganing to 4 on the draw is ideal. So, well, not ideal, but you know, it's the time to do it, not on the play. Pithing Needle, good. Good, I'm pleased we did this. Good day out. Some really weird needle art. Where is that from? No idea. So one of our figures is on the bottom of our deck, which is a bit annoying. That's a hollow one. We'll pass the turn. And we'll let them kill us until we draw a figure. I would probably just concede to a needle here. Not a needle, the other one, the sphere. I don't know, we're in an event with like actual things where it means something, so maybe we can't go around conceding games. We just have to draw to the figures. And that's the downside of what I did right. We're on the draw. If I'd kept the vigor, then I get the bizarre activation. But the bizarre activation is not even great because we wouldn't have these 2 green cards. We'd draw up and then we'd be discussing whether we want to keep hollow one or keep bizarre. I guess we'd be end step activating. I probably wouldn't sorcery speed the activation with bizarre plus hollow one. I don't know, but hey ho. So yeah, 3 outs to be allowed to play the game, and any sphere of resistance basically locks it up. So we'll see where we go from here. Otherwise, it's all sort of fine. Patchworks are going to make a quick clock, and they're going to make it difficult to get through later. Patchwork and sphere of resistance, cool. So we now can't cast our Force of Vigor if we do ever draw it. Their clock's really quick. Yeah, no, I'm cool with this one being over. Yeah, we just die too quickly. So we want the chalice back in. I think I'm going to bring that in over a snapback. Maybe we do want to trim a lizard. Maybe I did do that last time. I can't remember. Just give me a squee. Okay, game 3 against Windsource. We're on the play this time, and there we go. 7-card bizarre hand. Happy as you like. We'll keep this. We've got a strip mine, we've got a revival, we've got a vigor. Yeah, all great. And that's why you mulligan to 4 game 2 when you're on the draw and you're already at a disadvantage. And then you keep the 7s the following turn. It's all good sense. What do we discard here? Strip mine or fury? I'm going to discard the fury and cast a hollow one. So, opponent has workshop, pithing needle, okay. Needle's fine. Sphere of resistance. Okay, we're going to let that resolve. Because we can pay for the sphere with our wasteland. We'll get our 2 squeeze back and we'll get an activation on their turn. I'd like another bizarre or revival at some point. We'll play out the wasteland. We will attack. And then we'll pass and we'll see what they come with. And we want to leave the sphere in play until they put something on the stack, right? Just to eat a little bit of their mana. Another workshop. It's just like a worm coil. It's a foundry inspector. I don't think I'm fighting foundry inspector, so I think I'll let that one go. Now all their artifacts cost retail. And they have another sphere. So now we'll fight, and we'll hit the needle and the sphere. We'll pay 1. We'll pitch a revival. That's going to give us an activation to find 1 single blue card. That's all we need. But we didn't find one, so that's very annoying. We'll discard Squee negation. And then we'll get 2 squeeze back and we'll try and find a green card. So yes, yes. That's not a green card, but it is another hollow one, which is quite cool. So what do we discard here? Because we can knock out the Foundry Inspector. We discard the Force of Will. We attack for 4. And we need to be concerned about Worm Coil Engine, I think. Let me just double check that. Did they have Worm Coil post board before? Just one. But that's still a problem, right? We'll play a Strip Mine. We'll cast a Hollow one. We'll Wasteland a Workshop. Do we want to Wasteland the other Workshop? I mean, if they Tabernacle us, their Foundry Inspector dies, so they can't really Tabernacle us. Yeah, I guess we do then, right? No, because I need to be able to pay for spells later, because there's a Sphere in Space in play, so we won't do that. And next turn we can clear a path with our Fury, depending on what they'd play. Stonecoil Serpent, X equals 3. Okay. An Ancient Tomb. Into a Phyrexian Revoker. Cool. Phyrexian Revoker names nothing relevant because I've not got anything relevant to name. They've got 1 card in hand. We get 2 red cards back and a green card. Brilliant. So we're not going to activate this turn. We're just going to Fury the... I guess... we could just attack actually. So what does that look like? Yeah, attack and then clean up. We'll trade off something. We'll then clean up their squad with the Fury. And then we've still got Vigor for a Worm Coil later. Oh no. Attacking's really bad because we can just kill 2 creatures now. We're going to go for the Foundry Inspector and the Revoker. And then we slay. And this, they have to chump block or their Ancient Tomb dies. So now I guess we want to activate to find another Wasteland. Yeah, that does work. Oh, Vengevine, Squee. Okay. That works as well. So we can't Vigor this turn because of the Sphere of Resistance. So they play a Tabernacle, they play a Tabernacle. We've got a Bazaar behind. They can't cast an ancient a Worm Coil Engine. And they've conceded the game. So we're 3-0. Winning 2 matches against shops, which you don't do every day. So onwards. See you for round 4. Okay, round 4. We're on the draw against Sandy Dog. Historically, or not historically, but like most recently, they've got a bunch of results with the Mono White Initiative, but most recently seen on a Beseech the Mirror combo deck. So we're going to hope that it's the latter of those 2, just because we've got slightly better outs against combo than we have against Mono White. I don't hate my Mono White matchup, but the combo ones are usually better. So yeah, we'll see how we get on, but it looks like we might be in a multi-queue thing, so yeah, I will pause and see you soon. Okay, we have an opponent. We do not have a Bazaar, so we're going to go down to 6. Now we're going to go down to 5. Now we're going to keep it. We've got a trap. We're going to pop bottom of Wasteland, and then now we have to think, because so if they're on like a Beseech deck, they might have Saga, which would be annoying. If they're on mono white, they might have a Wasteland, which would be annoying. But I think I'm going to bottom the other. I think Wasteland's better against both decks. Is that true? I think so. So I'm going to bottom the Noxious and not be convinced about it in the dark. But I think Wasteland to not die to Saga is slightly better. But that might just be heinous, actually. Yeah, because I can draw into Vigors and Wastelands, right? But then there's 2 Wastelands on the bottom, so we've only got 3 left. I'm not getting rid of the hollow one. Maybe the Noxious is better, because if it's mono white and they Chancellor us, then we've got something to use on the trigger. And if it is the Beseech deck, then we've got a green card for the Vigor that we can draw into. Huh. Maybe that was wrong. Never mind. We've done it now. Here we are. They haven't Chancellored us, so we're going to assume Beseech, but obviously they're on the play and they're going to show us anyway, so none of this really matters. So yeah. Okay, so Sandy's led with Underground Sea, Lotus Petal, and a pass. So does that mean they've got a Bowmaster? They're just playing around our trap. I don't want to Wasteland them, because it's just an Underground Sea, it's nothing exciting. Also, it's just an Ancestral hand. We can't fight that, so we won't fight that. They're back up to 7 now. And we've drawn a Snapback, which is fine. So we'll draw some cards. We'll discard Powder, Squee, and I guess the Snapback at this point. And then we'll roll out double hollow one. And we've got Mindbreak Trap plus Wasteland and an active Squee. And Squee is a Goblin, so that's very exciting. So they're going to be on their Beseech deck again. That's the Saga that we've been thinking about this whole day, so that's nice and rewarding. Time Walk would be problematic. Lotus is also not, ideal. Black, black, black into Necropotence. Wow, that's a pretty big game for them. I mean, we do have 8 power in play, so it's not clear to me what the ideal thing is for them to do. 8 power is a lot of power. And here come Necro activations. I guess they could draw into Hercules. But a powerful hand from Sandy. So they drew 7, I believe. Yeah, so they've drawn 7, they're on 13. We're going to dome them for 8, and then we need to come up with like the best protection that we can do. And they go to clean up. We'll pop out their graveyard a little bit. And their exile, actually, because that's where it's all going to go. So Mental Misstep, Lure Revealed, Scalding Tarn. Okay. So they've got 7 cards in hand. An Urza Saga on the go. We've got a Wasteland, so I'm going to activate this. Because we need to find something else. I'm going to discard Bazaar, Squee, And I guess Squee. Like, I don't have anything else to protect against, right? So I've just got this Mind Break trap. Do I want to take them off Underground Sea instead? Is that better? Probably not. I may as well show them the blue Squee, because if I do get another turn, so I think I'm just going to Wasteland the Saga because that's the one that's the most annoying. Yeah, because if I do get another turn, then I can just hold the Squee as a bluff anyway. And if I do get another turn and don't have any hollow ones, you know. So float a mana. Cycle of Lorien revealed. Which might be good for us, because that's a blue card that's leaving. Well, that is a blue card that's leaving. And then they've got to come at us and win this turn, basically. I'm sure they've got good tools to do that, because they Necroed for 7. That's the Underground Sea that we know about from the Lorien revealed. So let's see what Sandy's got. Looks like we've got some sort of play at least. A black mana floating. Just working out the sequence, I guess. Dark Ritual seems like the most realistic. Yeah, we've been unfortunate in just not to draw much more interaction other than Wastelands, which, you know, are certainly good, but they could be better. It would have been nice to get a blue card at some point. One of the forces. Okay, so they've led. First spell of the turn is Thoughtseize, so that's unfortunately got to get through. They've now got 5 cards to win the game with. Nothing else we can do. That's all of our actions. They are at 3. The 5 cards in hand need to kill, because they don't have draw steps. And in Sandy's last build they had a Shieldred, which also wouldn't work at the moment without card draw to back it up. So black, black, and 1. That's a Yawgmoth Will. So yeah, looking good for Sandy here. Cracked Petal for white. The 1 ring. Okay. That's very interesting. Necro down to 1, I guess. Oh no, hold up a Force of Will. Makes sense. Okay, another turn. Didn't expect that. So Misstep is a cracking draw. We will put back the 2 Squeeze. I was going to hold 1, but I'm not going to, just because I've drawn this Revival. I'm going to Wasteland an Underground Sea. And now we can respond to a one ring activation by giving Sandy an underground sea, or no, it's a saga. I guess we can give them an underground sea, and that's their one draw, right? That's it. That's their one draw to dig a little bit deeper. It is an underground sea. Who knows, that might help them. But it's just a nice little tempo play where we get to fix their draw. I did think I could give them an Ancestral or Thoughtseize, but I just feel like that's really bad. Oh no, they get 2 more cards. I forget how the ring works. So we've got a misstep to fight a Dark Ritual, which in this spot, when your Lotus is exiled, is going to be a decent amount of the game. That's the underground sea that we gave them. It's because we share. So 2 mana. So 3 mana tapped. We're very close, but obviously this deck can kill out of nowhere. Chain of Vapor, the 1 ring. And then that'll be... Do I just want to bink that? I guess no, because Ritual Beseech... And they've just conceded the game. Okay. I don't know if I'm supposed to be misstepping this Chain of Vapor. That's a tough one. Because if I chain it, right, then this is gone. But then if they just go Ritual Beseech away my Necropotence, Beseech away my Mox Pearl, then they win. And that's really bad for us. So I think I would let that through with the intention to misstep a Ritual. Interesting game. So what do we like here? Let's look at a deck list quickly. So post board, Sandy does have access to Sphinx and Portal to Phyrexia. 2 Leylines of the Void, a Hercules, a Pithing Needle, and a Tabernacle. So it's about 7 cards, 7 or 8 cards, depending on whether they rate the Hercules recall. Therefore, we need the snapback. They have a main deck Shieldred, so we will be bringing in the Caracas. The Noxious are typically not great in here. And then we can drop a Squee. I think that's all I'm going to do for now. I'm always tempted by Leyline of the Void, but I haven't found it to be insane. I think just being max blue, max aggro, and then like the Noxious Revivals, we just maintain some green count. But 2 snapbacks for the Sphinx and the Shieldred, and then 2 Caracas against the Shieldred, plus obviously all of our permission. Sandy's on the play again. We don't have a Bazaar of Baghdad. Very distressing news. So we'll be going to 6. Man, if this was a Bazaar, can you imagine? Just a phenomenal opener. So down to 6 we go. Still no Bazaar. But as always, game 2 on the play, on the draw even, is the time to be... Game 2 on the draw is the time to be mulliganing to Oblivion. So Sandy's gone to 6 as well, which is good news. And this is one of those things where I feel like it like sort of... they mulligan to 6, right, and they see a medium 6, and they're encouraged to medium mulligan to 5, and then all of a sudden they have to get Bazaar. Not Bazaar, Leyline. But they've kept the 6, so that's exciting. we've got Vigor, Hollow 1. We'll keep this. We're going to discard the Wasteland, or do we discard the Hollow 1? I guess we need some sort of clock. So we'll discard the Wasteland. We've got Saga covered with these Vigors. No Leyline of the Void is big news. It's going to be a hard discard though on the Bazaar to get this Hollow 1 into play. That's why I was tempted by the Wasteland. Instead of the Hollow 1, yeah, because I could have bottomed the Wasteland instead of Hollow 1, and then just taken a few draw steps, wasted their first land, and tried to draw into blue to protect this Vigor with. But it might just be that we just activate, discard basically what we draw, and then Vigor their permanents. It's just Needle is a real problem. Needle with Force Blue behind will really put us in a bind. But Sandy deep in the tank again, or deep in the tank in their other match. Okay, so Sandy leads on Mox Emerald to start with, and then Mox Pearl leading right into my Mind Break traps. An Academy, wow. Time Walk, okay. So I guess we do this now, so we don't give them access to Fluster. Dink, dink. And then cancel, because I don't feel like I clicked on that Pearl quite too accurately, you know? And if they've got Force Blue card, then they have to do that, but they did not. So now they've got no mana and no plays. So that's always a positive note for us. We'll play a Bazaar, and we won't activate the Bazaar just yet. We'll activate End Step and get our Squee grinding a little bit. This way we also play around Tabernacle and Busted Things. So Squee Revival Hollow 1. And just slowly build up a unbeatable graveyard, unbeatable hand of blue cards. Yeah. So slightly slower approach, but it just means that we just don't run headfirst into a Tabernacle and spew away a bunch of resources. And when your opponent's got no mana and no plays, it's usually decent. There's a Saga. Yeah, so there's a downside of what we're doing, right? There it is. Uncounterable threats. 2 Vigors have gone. No Wastelands have gone. Okay, well we'll spin again, and we will discard a blue card to hold a Wasteland. If we just hit Squeeze and stuff, then we'll... Oh, okay. So let's discard a blue card this time, because we either want to bring in the Vengevine and get the clock going, or we want to bring in the Wasteland. Mind Break Trap. No, I'm just going to spin. So Root Waller, Master of Death, Force of Negation, and we can very easily get Tabernacled here. But we need to, now that the Saga's here, we now need to change our approach. I liked just grinding the Squee for a while and building up cards, but that got kind of punished. We could have been a number of hit points ahead, but instead we've just kind of spewed around a bit of time. Tabernacle, obviously, a problem. Wasteland next turn is a necessity. Lotus Petal. So that gives them a Saga activation. creates a 2/2, so my lizard is in a bind. Force of will, man. It's just all my blue shit. So discarding master trap, I guess. So I'm going to need to vigor shit out the way later. Oh, this was brutal. But I'm going to slay with the lizard because I am. Okay, they just click through blockers, I suppose. No, it's just a 1/1, right? Because they have to activate they have to lose the petal. So now the needle comes in. Yeah, maybe I should have just kept the blue cards, a bonus trap in hand, and not thought about this because I didn't think about the petal. That was a real punt. We should have just extra blue cards. Oh, that was awful. That was awful. This should be a trap or another force of some variety. So black. Oh. Oh, tapping this first for mana. Our trap's not going to be online. I don't like how I played that last turn. Okay, so bunch of mana. Demonic Tutor. So Demonic Tutor is just going to get Tabernacle. So I could fight that. But I feel like I'd rather fight if they go and get a Shieldred or something. I think I'm happy with Tabernacle happening because I've got a Squee and I've got good protection. Yeah, no, I'm going to let them do it. And then I can, because they've left 4 floating for some reason. So it's either a Tendrils or a Shieldred. And Shieldred we can force with trap behind. So if it's Tabernacle, then congratulations, my creatures go to the graveyard. But I usually would fight this sort of thing, but where it's their first spell, it really makes it difficult for us to push through the permission suite. I don't like how I've played this though. Like I wish this Vigor was just one of those traps or that Squee. Just so I had Force. Or Force trap if they'd led on a Mox or something like that. But never mind. We are in the position we have put ourselves in. And I think letting them go and hopefully getting Shieldred is better for us. Well, hopefully getting Shieldred is questionable. Depends on how much permission they've got in hand. Of note, Sandy only has just under 7 minutes on their clock, so if they do squeeze this one out, they will need to pick up the pace, but that's, part of the Modo stuff. I think Sandy's a bit of a grinder, so they're probably double queuing. Okay, DT's resolved. Petal is here. Or Petal is gone. And they've gone for a Yawgmoth Will. So we're going to force pitching force. And that's enough. Okay, sweet. So they didn't have the protection. They went for the kill rather than like a slower plan with Tabernacle, which makes sense. But yeah, a good win for us. That puts us at 4-0, I think. So we've got 2 winning ins and then maybe some breakers. So I'll see you for round 5. Okay, round 5. First of the 2 winning ins, we're up against Musasabi, who I just looked up, has been on a bunch of Espetinka Beseech lists for ages. except for last time they were out when they played some Buglurus, which sounds fucking heinous. So I would like to play first. They got 4th in the challenge. Yeah, no, Lurus. Bollocks. That's not cool for us. So, yeah, just bug stuff. 2 trophies. Luring revealed. 5 strip effects and 4 sagas. Soul Guide Lantern in the main. Deathrite Shamans. Orcish Bowmasters. Oh god, I hate all of it. Haywire Might. A non-creature artifact. Cool, my hollow ones are somewhat safe. I am on the play. I do keep this, and I do get to put roughly 6 power into play on turn 1. So that's the good news. The bad news is my opponent's deck looks like it eats us for breakfast. So, okay, so let's just go with the 11 power in play on turn 1. There's no chance they've got a main deck Tabernacle. So they also played 0 traps last time out, so that's pretty good. Basking Rootwaller. Is there one that they're scared of? No. So Hollow One. So yeah, our roughly 6 power turned into roughly 11. Over to you. And they've conceded. So we've binked one there with just a massive amount of power. Post board, there are 2 traps, but I can't imagine I'm the matchup for them. 1 Needle, 2 Cage, 1 Tabernacle, 2 Push, but also don't think that's great. I think their main deck's very good against us. So it's probably just going to be the Needle and then maybe the Cages, I would guess, because their main deck is pretty fucked up against us, really. So what does that mean we want? We probably want the Furies in this matchup. I don't think I want the Caracas. I think I'm interested in 1 Ghost Quarter. And then I'm going to drop all of the traps. And then the Chalice of the Void. So I know they're on bugs, so they're locked to have multiple pieces of power in hand at the beginning of the game, but I just don't expect there to be too many trap opportunities. I might be wrong, and that might be horrific, but here we are. So an easy mulligan, because there's no Bazaar of Baghdad. Which is a shame, because I would have liked to put all of the power into play. So we mulligan, let's click the right button. Yeah, and we've got Vigor for Needle, 2 Bazaars, a bunch of stuff. I'm actually just going to bottom the Force. And if they go land Mox, are we pitching to the Mox to get the Bowmaster into play? Okay, so traps are great because they are on bug. No, this went and got Lurus. Okay, I've got a Fury. I'm actually kind of interested in Vigoring here, but I think I'm going to take my activation first. Because I've not got great discards at the moment, so I'm now not interested in Vigoring. Am I interested in Fury? How many Tabernacles do they have post board? Just 1. Maybe I am interested in Vigoring. So what would that be? That would be like discard Fury, Force, play Hollow 1, Vigor U, Tabernacle, I lose. Or discard Force, Fury. Hang on, I think that's what I just said. Vigor U, Tabernacle, I lose, yeah. Or I can discard Vigor, Rootwaller, Fury, Force of Will, Lurus, Tabernacle, I lose. I don't like any of these options. I think the one I like most is the one where they've got no mana in play. So I'm going to discard Fury, Force of Will, I'm going to cast a hollow one. I'm going to cast a hollow one. I'm going to pass the turn. Upkeep, I'm going to vigor their 2 permanents. Dink and dink. That might get a force of will. It does not. And then Tabernacle I lose. There we go. Perfect. Just how we drew it up. I do have 2 Bazaars though, so there's some good news, I guess. So, I mean, I can activate and pretend that I'm not keeping this Bazaar of Baghdad, but I'm keeping this Bazaar of Baghdad, so I'm just going to play it first and just give it the whole spin thing. Any lizard is pretty cool. And the reason we're doing this at sorcery speed is because then their Soul Guide Lantern is really good. Now, the reason we're doing it at sorcery speed is so that we don't get blown out by a Orcish Bowmaster. So yes, everything's going to die, but hey, we get to fireball them for 8, and we've now got a Squee active, and we've got 2 Bazaars, so their Wasteland's not as good. So yeah, that's certainly something. Scalding Tarn, so now their Bowmaster's online. A bunch of triggers here, so how do we want to do these? Doesn't matter, but what is interesting is if I play, so usually in this spot we'd spin one of the Bazaars first to get for more squeeze. Then if they Bowmaster me, then that's like a real clock, but I still think it's correct to, because I need squeeze to win this game at all. And then we have to press no a lot of times. So I do apologise about all the clicking. I have ordered something called a silent click mouse. Whether that works or not, we'll find out. So all our cards go to the graveyard, which is great because that's like a big part of our deck, right? Is putting cards into the graveyard. So we draw a Wasteland, which we'll keep. We'll play it, and we'll pass the turn. And I'm not convinced as to what I'm doing with the Wasteland. Maybe I'm supposed to Wasteland Underground Sea here so that they can't cast Allurus. How does that sound? Make it so they can't cast Lurus. They could Gush me, but then they still can't cast Lurus. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it upkeep. Like right now. Bink. So a blue gets floated. Oh, so they've got Gush. Cool. So we did get Gushed, which is a shame, but this was happening either way. And they didn't do anything with their mana. So, Tropical Island, Soul Guide Lantern. That's annoying. So it's not looking like we're going to win this one. Do we even spin? Probably not. That's a squee. And I might spin end step. No, that's not true. I won't spin end step. Ancestral Recall. Yeah, so we're just going to get buried here, I think. I think it's all going to come down to that first decision we made. I don't know how good it was. Sure, I will activate now, I think. Just because that might get the Soul Guide Lantern to go off. Lizard and a Bazaar, that's brutal. We do want that Soul Guide Lantern to go away. But if I'm allowed to pick it up, then if I'm allowed to pick up the squee, then I get a Wasteland on them. Did they not play a land this turn? Oh, they played a wasteland. Come on, Josh, get a grip. So we know they're holding Underground Sea. I'm not sure what the long-term plan is here. And they don't seem particularly interested in activating that Soul Guide Lantern. So we'll play Strip Mine. I think I might just strip the Trop. Or do I strip the Tabernacle? But I'm never getting any creatures back with the Soul Guide Lantern in play. Another Wasteland. Okay, so that's going to really body us. Deathrite Shaman's fine. One, two, three Bazaars have gone. You Wasteland my Bazaar. I will Wasteland the Tropical at some point just to lock down their Deathrite Shaman. But I'm not winning this game, am I? So now their Deathrite Shaman's difficult. We've got a Fury. Which is cool. I do like Fury. They are going to keep it alive by exiling our Bazaars, which makes sense, right? Because it's going to keep our Noxious Revivals turned off. There's more preordaining and pondering. Pithing Needle. Okay. Pithing Needle naming Bazaar, of which I have one. So we say okay. And I'm going to make me sit through this, I think. Am I? I'm kind of bored of this game already. Yeah, no, cool. They've got running lands, so we'll just get out of here. Call that a day. We're incredibly far behind. Let me know what you think of that play on turn one, where we pitched the blue cards in order to bink the mana. I don't know. So I think I'm relatively fine with how I'm sideboarded. Could bring in Surgical just to nab on the wastelands. No, I think I like how I'm sideboarded, and sometimes you run into a bad matchup in the winnings. But let's see how we get on. We are on the play this time. We need them to not have their Singleton Tabernacle, and we need a good 6 or 7 card hand. So we have got a banging 7. We will keep it. And we will probably just go Bazaar Go, I think. Because I want to put this Vengevine on this Vigor. I want to hold this Noxious. To pick up my Bazaar of Baghdad after their turn 1 Wasteland. They kept 7 as well, so imagine 3 bits of power at the very least. And we will activate in response to a Wasteland. Just a tropical island. And a Deathrite Shaman. Okay. That all seems fine. Less powerful start than last time, but Deathrite is still obviously good and a little bit of a problem. So, squee. And that should be enough squeeze to sort of like fight this Deathrite Shaman for a few turns. The issue we have now is that their Wasteland is like lethal. That's a Force of Will. No, their Wasteland is slightly less lethal. So we'll just do three squeeze again? No. SqueeVine. Yeah, I like SqueeVine because I can fight all the artifacts and enchantments on the stack. And then I'm going to play a Bazaar of Baghdad and hope to hit a lizard or a hollow one. We hit a lizard and another Bazaar. Good grief. Lucky us. I'm just going to discard Vigor. Obviously, Tabernacle's a ball ache again, but what are you going to do, you know? We have got infinite squeeze going. Two Force of Wills, or two Force effects, I guess, actually. And a Bazaar of Baghdad. Having all your Bazaars in the top 6-7 cards of your deck is pretty sick. And if we get tabbed here, then we'll be looking to Wasteland a Trop to put pressure on the Deathrite Shaman. So yeah, a phenomenal start from us. We've presented threats, we've got the engine, we've got the permission, but we are still against Bug, which is quite difficult. So they do exile a Squee. I'm not going to fight that one. Sorcery speeding this is weird. Strip Mine, sure. Strip Mine's fine. I can fight Strip Mine. I've got Revival. I've got another Bazaar. I've already got 2 of them. So I guess you've got to tap your Strip Mine for Needle, right? Would be the play. No plays. Okay, so Sorcery speed on the Deathrite Shaman is interesting. Well, I suppose you have to do it so that I don't get my Squee back, yeah. So let's activate Bazaar of Baghdad. So I'm going to go Squee. Is that right? What do I go Squee Revival? 1, 2. Yeah, I need to keep both the blue squeeze, don't I, really? Let's just go Squee Revival. So I've got infinite Bazaars. We'll attack for 6. We'll play another Bazaar. We'll pass the turn. They can strip one of our Bazaars and that's fine. Very fortunate draws. For us. Man, Bug's so stressful to play against. Just because it's a bit like when you play against prison shops and like you think, oh, what can they have in their 7-card hand? It's just like none of it is good for me, right? Like Bowmasters is a ball ache. Force of Wills are going to make me use loads of resources. And it's usually when we get low on resources that their Deathrite Shamans and their Strip Mines start to shine. So, you know, although we've had a great start and we're ahead, just, yeah, Tabernacle, Bowmaster, the whole game changes. So they're going to fight a Squee again, by the looks of things. Which makes sense. Just trying to cut me off the engine and stay alive. But I've got a very nice end step activation with the 2 squeeze in hand. And this is typically how it works. When you've got the red squeeze going, you want to go dig for your hollow ones. And when you've got the blue squeeze going, you kind of want to hold them to accompany your blue cards. So, yeah, 3 Bazaars and 5 squeeze in the top 17 cards. That's when this deck's supposed to shine. Urza's Saga. Okay. Urza's Saga is good. It's not a black source though, so that's nice. What do we discard here? So I'm going to revival a Vigor, I think. So I can Vigor this. No, I'm not going to do that. So I can Vigor this Saga. Does that make sense? Maybe I just discard the revival. I'll just discard the lizard. Getting in for 6, you go to 8. Saga's a massive issue. Deathrite Shaman's a long-term issue. If I discard the lizard, I can't Vigor. But I do get him for 7. That presents lethal next turn. But then you'll have Deathrite Shaman and Urza's Saga to block with. If I pick up a Squeeze, I could draw a Fury or a Wasteland. I've got 4 Furies. I've got 5 Wastelands. I'm going to discard the lizard and just try and put pressure in, I think. Okay. So we get our Squeeze back. We've got Triple Bazaar. They have got an Urza's Saga, but I've drawn a Force of Vigor naturally, so, you know, go me. And I've drawn a Wasteland as well. So yeah, we'll get rid of these cards. We will attack for 7. We'll play Wasteland, and we will not activate Wasteland. And then we're going to upkeep, we're going to Vigor the Urza's Saga. But we're not activating Wasteland because it's our Tabernacle Insurance. They might strip mine our Wasteland to get the Tabernacle Wrath, but then we get to knock out their Trop. And then they'll have no mana apart from the Deathrite. And where we've got Infinite Bazaar of Baghdad's, we don't need to worry too much about our revivals. Obviously this can change, like they could just play a Wasteland at some point and put us down to 1 Bazaar. So 1 mana on end step is an Island Cycle with Lorien. And I think Vigor is something I will be happy to get in a fight with. They found an Underground Sea. Let's Vigor this. So that rules out the blockers. It rules out the Pithing Needle and Soul Guide Lantern, which can come back and annoy us. The Deathrite Shaman is now under loads of pressure because it's hard to keep fighting my Squeeze when I've got this much of a board presence. But just like staying back and blocking does knock out 3 of my guys, right? So I guess actually if they don't do anything, I can just end step Wasteland the Trop so you can't gain the life. And that seems really spewy. So yeah, tough spot for the opponent. Black Lotus. Where do we stand on Black Lotus coming through? They did just tutor for an Underground Sea. There is lands in graveyards, so they do have access to black mana. I think I'm going to force pitching Force. I'm just not very excited about that coming into play. Well, if you were force pitching Force, maybe I can just let it come in and it doesn't really matter. It's just the notion that they might be able to like triple spell us or what have you. So that gets through. And Ancestral or Needle or Soul Guide, they all get misstepped. DT gets forced. Hmm. 6 cards is a lot of cards though. Six cards is a hell of a lot of cards. There's the Underground Sea, so we're safe from Tabernacle once again. Demonic Tutor. So we know we're safe from Tabernacle. So what do you tutor for here if you're them? Needle, Soul Guide, Cage doesn't do anything, Time Walk Trophy, Bowmaster. I think we can let this go through. So I guess exile my Squee. That keeps you alive for a turn. Go get Tabernacle. Strip mine my Wasteland. Wrath your Ward. My opponent's at 2. I've got no creatures. That would work as a line. So we need to look for land next turn. So they've got their spell, their card, yeah. So that sounds like what they're going for, right? Well, they're going for blocking gain 2. There'll be nothing to gain with if you wait, homie. Give me the blue ones. We're going after Urza's Saga, making some mana. Orcish Bowmasters. So let's force this. And if they've got a force, they've got a force. They do have a force. So how do we play this now? Flip it. Bop it. I don't know. Right, so that's definitely getting through. I was going to eat a lizard. Then we attack for 5. They then block a lizard and go down to 2. And still have a bowman in play. Or I can go flip, flip. I think we see how the flips go. So I can't misstep anything. So yeah, let's see how the flips go. That's annoying. Hollow one's like the thing that we really want, right? Ghost Quarter, sure. And now I think we let the lizard come into the bowman come into play. You ping a lizard. The green lizard, sure. Yes. And top decked Fury is lethal, and we've seen 0 in 26 cards. Force of Vigor. So if we slay for 6, they've got a block. They take 2 and then activate. I think I attack first. So you chump block. Take 2. So I could activate, look for Fury. And then you deal 2 damage. Or I can just wait, and then if you don't, and then I attack for 7 next turn, you exile a lizard, and you have a good blocker. I think I've got to activate and find a Fury to get these guys off the board. So I do lose lizards doing this. Fuck. Yeah, that was annoying. That activation might be the death of me. They've got 3 cards in hand. Bowmaster comes in. Okay. Now what? They've got 4 mana. Yeah, this has got a lot tougher. They eat a Master of Death, that's fine. Any Furies? No Furies. So we'll just get him for 4. They chump block. No second bowman to make the trade, that's nice. Do we want to waste something? I guess we can wasteland the tropical island. And then play a wasteland, and then pass the turn. I guess they can still have second bowmaster here for the trade, can't they? The 4 Furies are in. We need them just to have like fuck all, right? Fatal push my Vengevine. Okay. Where do we stand on wastelanding the Underground Sea? I think I like it. They've only got 2 cards left. So they're back up to 3 cards in hand. They're going to eat a Ghost Quarter. Okay. Do I want to put Ghost Quarter on top of my deck? I think that's fine. You can have the mana off Ghost Quarter. So that's a green. It's another Deathrite Shaman. That's annoying. That's a Fury, and I think I'm just going to punt the Fury at them now. Ah, they've got the force of will. Okay. So I can pick up Fury next turn. Oh, that's not true now that I've passed the turn, is it? Misty Rainforest. Yeah, I should have just picked up the Fury straight away. Vengevine. Okay, so we'll pass. We don't have many red cards left, right? 3 squeeze have gone, 3 lizards have gone. We've got 2 red cards left. So they're going after a wasteland. They're just exiling a wasteland. Okay, so that's going to make green mana. And then they're going to exile a creature. And I'm going to pick up whatever they go after, I think. They're going to go after the Vengevine to gain 2 life. Do I pick up the Vengevine? Probably not, but I probably do pick up the Fury. And pass. So if I Fury them next turn, right, well, I need to find one of my 2 red cards. That's the brutal part of it. So I don't think I'm allowed to... Oh no, I've got the other 3 Furies, right? I'd like them to at some point just go and get Lurrus. That would make my life a lot easier. Not having to play around these death rights. But the moment I activate a Bazaar, I'm suddenly under a very punishing clock. Fucking bug, man. So they eat my wasteland. Make a black mana. Strip mine a Bazaar of Baghdad, that's fine. Eat the Bazaar. Plays an Underground Sea. Goes and fetches Lurrus. So this is the turn that we've got to activate. We'll take our draw step. We'll go up to 4, then we'll go up to 6. So Vengevine goes, 2 squeeze go. They get a Bowmaster, which kills our lizard and pings our face. We cast a Fury, which is going to go after the Bowman for sure. And I guess one of the death rights. And then we're spinning for a green lizard, of which we have 3 and 26. Yeah. Okay. Green lizard, please. Oh, final red lizard. That's fine by me. So now we get in for 4. We have a 1/1 in play. Opponent does get to cast a Lurrus, which will get to cast a... possibly get to cast a Deathrite Shaman, but it's not clear this turn. They'll get to eat one of our squeeze. They do block. We are catastrophically low on red cards. I know I've been saying that the whole game, but now it's like triple Fury's gone, or double Fury's gone, triple Squee is gone, 4 red lizards have gone. So now our future Furies are really, really dubious. Opponent can play a Lurrus if they want to. Hopefully they've not got a land drop. Hopefully they've just run like a fucking Force of Will or something shit. Not that Force of Will is shit, it's just that Force of Will is not a relevant draw at the moment. The Lurrus needs to die very quickly though, so they kind of want to resolve the Lurrus before I get cards in hand. This is a proper tough one. This is one that's going to be interesting to watch back later because I was in so much control earlier. I felt like I had the game locked up, and then they squeezed through that Bowman on my upkeep, and that just annihilated the whole game. But that's just how bug works, right? Is it just grinds you into the ground. So yeah, I guess the difficulty here is that if I attack with the SqueeVine, what do you block with? Well, you kind of have to block with Lurrus, right? Although you could just go to 3. And then the next turn you'd get a Bowmaster back. Wasteland, okay. Fetch. So that means it's going to be like Lurrus plus a second Deathrite Shaman. Or it's going to take me down to 1 Bazaar of Baghdad. Both are great options. They didn't get a trop. Oh yeah, they have to cast. What's his cock? The Lurrus. Close games are close. So here comes Lurrus. Now I guess you Deathrite out of Deathrite. That's just so free, right? Yep. And then Deathrite, Bowman, Lurrus make infinite chump blockers. So we will be looking to draw another Fury and, well, another 2, I guess. So Basking Root Waller. So activate. So SqueeVine. So SqueeVine, Squee. Activate again. Hollow one. Fury. Shit. Okay, so Hollow one would have been nice. Hollow one would have been nice. So let's get in with our SqueeVine and see what they want to do about that. Do you want to block? Do you want to go to 2? You definitely don't want to trade with Lurrus. They do go to 2. They take their draw step. Attack with Lurrus. Guess I can chump block. Because I need to be careful with my life total, right? Because of Bowman. It's like if they top deck another Bowman, then my Dilar activation kills me. Here comes yet another Bow Boy. Red card. I know I don't have many red cards. Snapback. So activate Bazaar. Oh god, this game's too hard. This game is too hard. Right, so snap back the Bowmaster. Activate Bazaar of Baghdad. I won't ever have enough cards to Fury with. Yeah, I will, I'm lying. No, 2 down to 1, right? So maybe this Fury's really bad. But I still can't activate the Bazaar with the dude in play. One, two green lizards, 1 hollow one, 18 cards. If I activate, I can kill Lurus, Bowmaster, die to Deathrite Shamans on the next turn. So I think I've got to snap back. I've got to get like kind of lucky. Well, the Deathrites hold off my SqueeVine in the yard, don't they? And they kill me next turn. I'm still going to activate. He's a Bazaar. Good God, Josh. I was on board. That was really fucking punty. So it was just activate straight into it. Was the line. Okay. It's tough. Deathrite Shaman's a new card, you know. Cool. We lose. Right. We take 2. They attack for far more than that. So stupid. So if I'd had those cards, so say we let them do that anyway, I have the snapback and the squee, and I draw another squee and a SqueeVine, and I'm not getting anywhere anyway. So difficult loss. 1 more round. We'll see you there for it in just a couple of minutes. Okay, round 6. After that loss to Musasabi, we're up against SH Shock, who seems to have quite a bit of range. Their Goldfish in Vintage literally is just like colourless, Esper, Hogak, Jeskai Control, Esper, Jeskai Control. So anything, basically. We have won the die roll though, so that's always nice. We've got Bazaar, we've got the World. We're fucking happy with that. So we'll keep it. And no Lurus rules out Jeskai Control. See what they come with. Let me make a note for the old data-y thingy. Musasabi. Six cards have entered the exile zone. So what form of fuckery are they on? So they're on Cradlevine, which I can't remember, is either awful or really good. I can't remember which one it is. Yeah, our blue cards don't mean anything. We get Fury's post board. So here we're just going to discard Squee, Vengevine, Squee. We'll hold the lizard for next turn. That's if our land gets next turn. We will see. Highly likely that we just get wasted off of our bazaar in this spot. We do not. Okay. What does our man have for us? Lizard, lizard, Vengevine. Okay. Okay. And then they attack us for 4. And we do have 2 squeeze going, and we do get to wasteland them. So that's all very exciting. No hollow 1, no follow-up play. Okay. Looks good. So they'll have a main deck vigor, so our hollow ones are a little bit difficult if we do ever find any. We do get to Vengevine ourselves this turn, so let's just go ahead and activate this. We do get to double Vengevine this turn, so that's fucking great, if you ask me. So the forces, I said they do nothing, but they do keep Hogak kind of at bay, so that's going to be their main job and function. We also need to keep the Hex Drinkers at bay, and we're also not too excited about them maintaining a Gaia's Cradle, but Gaia's Cradle is less important than Bazaar, so we will strip mine. We'll probably negation like anything they give us that looks like we can negate it. All right. Another Bazaar. Cool. Good chat. I mean, I have another Bazaar. I can't be too upset about it. So that's good, because that means their baskings aren't going to be bigger than ours for a minute or two, because they win the green lizard battle in this matchup. We need to hope that this isn't a big turn from them. Wasteland, Wasteland, Serum Powder. So they've got to have another Wasteland. So if we say that's 1 card in hand, then what are the other 3? They can tap everything and cast Hogak. That gets Force of Willed. And then we get in for 10, putting them to 2. Okay. Although I'd actually trade off with both the lizards here if they give me the option. They do not give me the option. Okay. I'm going to take my 4. I wonder what they're holding. Mox Ruby. I think I will negate that. It means that their lizard doesn't trade with any of my Vengevines. Wasteland. Very nice. They've got 3 cards in hand. I'm gonna send the whole squad. And I'm gonna wasteland their Bazaar. I'm gonna hope I get to Force of Will their play. And then I'll think about activating Bazaar later. But I think for now our hand is good enough. Our backup Bazaar is great. I did trim a bit sideboard wise against the Bazaar matchups. Like the Surgicals are good. The Leylines are better again. I still don't like them, but they're better. And then the Furies are obviously dope. So yeah, blocks, goes to 4. Oh no, scrap that. They need this shit for Hogax, right? Well, the boot, but the blazing can trade with the green lizard, happily enough. And then you maintain 2 green creatures for Hogax. So I think blocks take 9. Hogak died dead on board. Seems questionable actually. I'm still at 11, which is kind of cool. Because it means that Bloodghasts don't have haste. Let me look up an old, say, Shock Hogak list. Oh yeah, they played Deathrite Shamans, I remember. Deathrite Shamans and Once Upon a Times. That might have changed because both Montoli and I have posted with other results recently as well. And neither of us are on the Once Upon a Times or the Deathrite Shamans. Okay, so just saving damage seems to be the line that they want to take. Now we'll wasteland them. And our board is twice as good as theirs. If not more, because we've also got a Bazaar. I'm really curious to what they held over Wasteland. I think that's really interesting. Because I just think you're supposed to just fight the Bazaar and deal with the fact that you're on 1 or 2 life later, sort of thing. So what the fuck is this? This is just a lizard activation, right? Yeah. So I can end step my Bazaar. Squee. Probably just the 3 that I drew, right? I could have held that lizard here. But I think the force is better against like a Hollow One or a Once Upon a Time or something, or a Hex Drinker. I can only attack with the 2 Vengevines, right? Or can I just, do I just get in for 2? Oh, so they block the lizard on... No. I can probably attack with everything now that I've cast this blazingly. Another Squee. So that gives me an activation for sure. Gives me a Hollow One and a Snapback. So what happens if I snap back their Vengevine and then attack for 6? That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Cool. Game 1. Of the winning in. We win it again. Ghost Quarters definitely come in. Furies definitely come in. I like the Surgicals. I'm going to hold on the ley lines for now. Mind Break Traps are bad. Force and Negations are bad. That's Exacxes. So we could bring in a Snapback, take out the Chalice, drop the 4 Forces and bring in the 4 ley lines. I really don't like Leyline in this matchup, but where I've trimmed so much blue, maybe it's just better than my Force of Wills. Because this kills Hogak in the same way as everything else, right? In the same way as Force of Will does. And Caracas kills Hogak. Do I want Caracas in my deck? Not over the other cards. Misstep is busted, right? Yeah, they got Surgical. I think this is over the top, but I'm going to run it. And then revisit that later. Someone who's played so much of these two decks, you'd think I'd have like a decent fucking sideboarding plan against it. So, Bazaar, Surgical, Fury, Vigor, Hollow One. We'll just ditch the Hollow One, I think. Is that right? Yeah. We need to fight the Graveyard Supremacy. This is good. Fury and Squee are good friends. So that's why we did that. That's why we picked the Hollow One. Although at the moment they don't have any fucking interaction, you kind of feel stupid, but it's fine. They're a 4 Vigor deck as well. I don't know what their sideboard's like. Their last sideboard in this matchup, they had 2 Endurance, 2 Surgicals, 2 Dismembers, Beseiju, Force of Vigor, that sort of shit. But they do have the main deck, Death Rites as well. So let's see what happens. Lizard, Bazaar, Blazing. Okay. A lizard. That was a lizard and a Bazaar and a Blazing. And also a Hogak, just in case you were wondering why my mind's completely gone. So no Hollow One to follow up is good. Wasteland is great, so we're just going to waste them. We'll set a stop in the draw step and we'll go for the old Surgical your face and Surgical your whole game plan on the draw step. And they could Endurance themselves, but then all their good cards are at the bottom of the deck anyway. And Endurancing themselves is really good if you're holding the third Bazaar of Baghdad, right? So, Force of Vigor, Endurance, Misstep. Wow. Yavimaya and Strip Mine. What are you hoping to misstep over this? So, Surgicals, 4 Endurance, 3 Surgicals, Four Endurance, 3 Surgicals, 3 Hex Drinkers, 4 Bloodghast. They've completely come off of the Deathrite Shamans now. Strip Mine's a bit annoying, but I do have a Noxious. Hex Drinker's going to get cleaned up by the Fury. So I think we're in a decent spot here. And they didn't play a land, which is kind of weird. You'd expect something like land Hex Drinker here, wouldn't you? Land Hex Drinker, that's what I thought. Okay. They do have Endurance Vigor in hand, which I'm sure they're proper excited about. And I'm just going to Fury. Now I'm going to wasteland them. I think so. So they've just got Strip Mine, Endurance, Misstep, Vigor. And that's hard to play around. I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but they are pretty bodied at this point. They've not got anything going for themselves. Nor have we. So we're just going to get Strip Mined, and then once we get Strip Mined... well, you see what I did here, because I top decked a Bazaar of Baghdad, which was pretty high skill. So we'll discard the 3 green cards. They're going to Strip Mine us. Next turn we'll play another Bazaar of Baghdad. And if we ever trigger this SqueeVine, that's going to get the Endurance out of their hand. Yep. Oh, they could Surgical my Bazaar as well, if they've drawn it in the last 2 draw steps. They did have a few of them, didn't they? And then they're really far ahead. So I am not winning the no Bazaar mirror here. Or it's unlikely that I do. I'm surprised they held the misstep against the Surgical. I feel like your Bazaars are so good. Okay, do I get past my draw step? Big think on upkeep. Draw step. Ugh. Nope. Paying costs. Wrecked. Cool. So now we're behind again. It looked good, but they drew one of their Surgicals. Maybe I could be more conservative knowing about the Strip Mine. But once I've drawn that second Bazaar, I don't really need to. Who knows? So this is the sort of matchup where just like a 2-1 Hex Drinker does a lot of work. It's a Master of Death, so still no plays from us here. That's a Vigor. That's another Vigor. Oh god, are you going to make me click through? There's nothing to Vigor, man. They also have no plays. Do they have discards though? Like discard Green Lizard, play a Hogak would be phenomenally powerful. Discard Green Lizard, so we've got one. I've got 2 red lizards, but not enough cards in hand. So we're going to need a Fury. This Hogak's going to be a big problem. It's not a green lizard. It's a Leyline of the Void. So Bloodghast is good for them. Wasteland. Okay, so they're building out of it. They're building out of it more than we have. Oh, this just makes the Hogak on its own, doesn't it? Yeah, and I can't really defeat a Hogak. How many snapbacks are in my deck? Two snapbacks. Okay, so we'll take our like 11 damage here. And then we're just going to get endurance. Oh, fury, sure. Cool. Well, we'll concede there. Cool. Do I want my Force of Wills back? Do I want my Caracas? They don't have ley lines. They've just got surgicals. I've only got 2 surgicals because I skimped this week. Oh god, this game's hard. They've got 4 Bloodgusts, 2 Hogaks, right? 4 Vengevines. And better access to... They're better at bringing them back than I am. So I am going to resubmit, keep the ley lines. I'm not delighted about it. That was an unfortunate loss. But hey ho. Bizarre, leyline, hollow ones, squeeze, lizards, bunch of shit. They exile with powder, Bloodghast endurance, strip mine, hollow one, hex drinker. Okay. And this is one of the big problems with how I sideboard at the moment for this matchup, or how I've sideboarded now, is I've got the ley lines, which are fine. They're a good role player. I am changing my mind on them a bit. I used to think they're shit, but with the way it's built at the moment, it's okay. But dropping the forces means I can't protect my ley lines. But I don't know what else. I can do with the way it's currently built. So I do get a nice little ley line of the void. Activate Bizarre. That's Squee. Lizard Powder. And this Noxious is stapled onto my Bazaar of Baghdad. So they can't surgical my Bazaars this game. Okay. So they do have the Vigor, and they did wait until end steps. That's very clever. There we go. Vigor pitching Lizard. I don't need a draw step stop. Bazaar. Please nothing too quick and aggressive. Like, just be kind of chill, you know? Be kind of chill about it all. Just discard 3 wastelands again. I will surgical Vengevines that they try and bring back this turn. Because I'm not really set up to fight Vengevines right now. Hogak, Vengevine, Yavimaya. Black Lotus. Not good for me. Besage my Bazaar. Okay. Yes, I would like to search. I get my Squee back. Draw step. Nothing. So we'll play our second Bazaar. We'll give it a Spinnerino. We'll discard Squee, Leyline, Lizard. Okay, they've only got one card. And we've got a Surgical and a Revival. So we can like tuck the Hogak and get rid of the Vengevines at some point. If we need to. They did it again. They discarded a bunch of Wastelands. 2 Wastelands and a Powder. Do I have any Wastelands? No. No plays. So I wonder what you hold there. Give me my Squee. Get me a going. Oh fuck. Okay, so I think we discard Fury. Oh, I don't like doing it. And we strip them. And we attack for 6. And this looks good. They've got 1 card in hand. They've discarded a bunch of Wastelands. We're gonna Surgical their Bazaar of Baghdad on draw step. Vengevine Blazing. Okay, so they held a Lizard and they've drawn some cards. And that should bury them now. In fact, I think it has. We win the match. That puts us to 5-1 and gets us into the top 8. That was sick. More rounds coming. I feel quite fortunate about that matchup. I think we got a bit lucky. I want to revisit the Musasabi match. But yeah, no, sick one. 5-1. See you for top 8 matches. Okie dokie nerdcore. So we are in the top 8. We're up against Discoveren, who's usually on Doomsday. But they've revealed a Lurus. Fuck. That's never good for us. Let's go look them up quickly. Oh shit, it's all in the wrong place. It's all in the wrong place. Discoveron not on Doomsday is kind of savage for the home team. We do typically like our Discoveron matchup on paper, except for the fact that the pilot on the other side is Discoveron. That's the big downside of it all. So yeah, they've played some Tinker recently. So let's have a quick look. Lavinia, Narset. None of these are Lurus decks though. So like our Lurus matchups are never particularly fantastic. Demir Tinker down here. So yeah, no. So Discoveran showing that they are in fact busted. This is not the time for Modo to play up, but we'll keep our 7-card Bazaar hand and see where we get to. So yeah, a game in the dark, never nice, but let's see what happens. We have got a Noxious Revival, which is pretty dope. So we'll do like Squee, Lizard, I guess. So we're maintaining Vigors. I'm not too stressed about Vigor being bad. Or like you know, so Vigor's rarely great in the Lurus matchups. Yeah, so yeah, Vigor's rarely great in the Lurus matchups. So we're going to hold on to it for a moment, but we don't mind too much if we end up using the Reviver and not having a green card, right? Saying that, we could imagine our opponent just going like, you know, Land, Saga, Mox, that sort of thing. But yeah, a good start. 7 cards. Where we want to be. Mishra's Bauble is fine. They take a sneaky peek. And they wasteland us. So that's kind of cool. They've got 6 cards. We end step the Revival here. So our negation works. That was really fucky. I'd like this to fuck off. There we go. We get our Bazaar back. We certainly fight over it. Misstep, that's piss annoying. Because then they can still have like force behind. So they didn't have a force for the misstep. Cool. So we get our Bazaar back. They get a card and go back up to 6. We get our Squee back, which is fucking exciting. Rah. Play a Bazaar. Give it a quick spin. And then how do we play it from here? I guess we just hold the snapback and the Vigor. And then we'll attack for 2. We'll pray for no second waste. Second waste will do a real number on us here. And I don't think there's much point there in deciding which one is good. I think it's better just to bring down the protection. Oh god. Tell me about your Bowmaster. Pretty concerned that this is the mogged list, but I don't think there's much I can really do about that. Do I want to get my damage first? I assume so. And I guess I can just hold, right? So let's just pass the turn. See if we can eat their mana. If they fetch, we can activate. We can activate now. And we'll discard Vigor, Squee, and Powder. So we've got Force of Will up now for that Bowmaster. And we've got a second Bazaar. So here comes the Bowmasters. We played this relatively well. Makes a change from some other plays this evening. But they do have a negation, which is kind of savage. So the Bowmaster's in play and we're just on 2 Bazaars. One of our dudes is going to die. Oh, what a fucking train wreck. Good night. So in comes the Bowman. Not the top 8 matchup we were hoping to get, if I'm honest with you. If I'm being completely frank. So I'll play a Bazaar. And now pass the turn. And we've pitched our snapback and we have no main deck Furies. So winning this looks pretty challenging. Attack me with the Bowman. Go on. So unlucky. Black Lotus. So yeah, I think this is over, to be honest with you. I think this is not a winning proposition. I'm not spinning there because... Why aren't I spinning? Well, I think we're going to struggle to beat this Bowman, so I feel like I just want cards in hand. Luring Revealed. Yeah, this is going to be academic for them to win from here. If I activate my Bazaar, my creatures go away and then I die really quickly. And I really need my activation to be the activation that brings in Vengevine, right? Like a number of Vengevines. So the longer we just sit and wait and watch each other, then the more outs I've got to bring in a Vengevine or two. Drawing these blue cards is pretty dope because it gives us a little bit of protection. And then hopefully we can have a turn where we bring back some creatures. Because if we activate too many times, then the Orc Army gets to a point where we actually can't get past it. Another Bowman, so we'll force that. They've got a Flusterstorm. Okay. So yeah, this is about as difficult as it gets for us. I kill my lizards. We draw a hollow one. So I guess this is a good time to spin. I guess we die. Let's go to the next game. We needed one of those to be a lizard to bring back a Vengevine, but no, it's just 2 Mind Break traps. And yeah, we wouldn't be able to beat the 6/6 anyway. So we'll bring some Furies in. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4's good actually. We're bringing a Ghost Quarter. Let me bring up the deck quickly. I can't remember it. So like the Furies are bad against the deck, but the big issue is that we need a way to deal with their trillion Bowmasters. Yeah, because they just play 4 Bowmasters. They are on max Moxen, or close to it. Emerald, Jet Pearl, Ruby, Sapphire. Yeah. So Daze, Spell Pierce. Post board, they've got Soul Guide Lantern, Pithing Needle, Cage, Crypt, Push Tab. Okay. So I am going to drop the Chalice. 5 Wastelands with some Urza Sagas. Man, this deck's so brutal for us. I'm going to drop a Vigor. I'm going to drop a Trap. And then another Trap. And then one other card. Maybe it's just the Quarter actually. Ghost Quarter I was going to bring in. Yeah. And that way we're kind of teched for the big problem, which is the Bowmaster. The Bowmaster is the one that means we struggle to play the game. The Snapback's really questionable. I want my Vigor back for Needle. But yeah, the Bowmaster is the one that means we are basically forced down to 1 to 2 pieces of interaction or activations for the day. So having the Furies gets the Bowmasters out of the way. It might be a bit over the top bringing in all 4, but I've got that London Vintage event tomorrow and I want to give 4 a go because I'm worried that this deck might be quite popular there. So we mulligan and then we powder away all of our red cards. Is that correct? Is that good? It's got to be fine. Let's keep a Squee in the deck. That's the best card. Who needs red cards anyway? Let's powder these. So just down to 2 Furies. 5 cards, 4 cards, and a keep. Put 3 cards on the bottom. So force, Squee. And we just go for like the big payoff. How many tabs do they play? 1 Tabernacle post board, yeah. Lizard me? No lizards. So we'll cast the hollow one anyway. Because we could get wastelanded and we want some sort of clock in play. Strip mine, yeah. We get stripped and baubled. Wow. Powerful openers. Now it's just a case of how far can this single hollow one get us. SqueeVine. It just needed to be blue, that card. So yeah, how far can this hollow one get? Yes, they had to strip mine bauble, but if that was everything, then we're in a good spot. But no, ruby. Oh, ruby go, okay. A lizard, we slay. So it's not going to be luring revealed because they didn't have it last turn. They would have done it to get their land drop in. Urza's Saga, motherfucker. Okay, so we need a Bazaar or a Wasteland, and we need it very soon. Fury. Oh, no. We attack for 4, send them to 8. We need them to miss this land drop. Because if they hit this land drop, then we're in trouble. Oh no, they had it. They had it all rolled up. Underground Sea, yeah. And another squee. Not one single blue card in all of this. Not one single blue card. They go to 4. They make a dude. They make another dude. Now then, are they really aggro and do they get in there? They've got 8 cards in hand, so like the likelihood of my Fury resolving is super fucking low. Sapphire. Pearl. So now 5/5, so my Furies don't even work. Git probe me. Any Bazaar activation wins this game right now. They do get in for 5. Merchant Scroll for Force of Will, I guess. At this point, just wrap it up. So Bazaar off the top wins the game. They got Ancestral. So can we get like a little one time? It would be nice. Squee. Not what I had in mind. So I mean I can attack. They block. That's so shit. I think we've just got to pass. Maybe chump block. No. Looks like it's going to be dead in the top 8, but that's still fine. Ancestral yourself. Tormod's Crypt really puts the nail in the coffin. 2 of them was unnecessary. And they're getting for 16, so we're forced to chump block. And this is going to be a bit much for us to overcome, I think. I mean, it all starts with a Bazaar activation, right? And there's not one there. So GG's to Discovering. Thanks for coming along on our little journey. Sorry that the top 8 was so quick and pointless. But yeah, no, still a good outing, right? 5-1 into top 8, beating shops twice along the way. So can't be too upset, just losing our 2 Bowmaster matchups on the day. So it continues to be an issue, but hey ho, we take it. That's my first top 8 for a little while. I felt like I hadn't won a game of Vintage in some time. But yeah, so beat shops twice, beat Tinker decks twice, beat the Bazaar matchup, and then lost the 2 Bowmaster decks, which are a real problem. Luring Reveal's really buggered us on this deck. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you at some point soon.